Continue. New game. Options. Quit. Option. Volume.
English subtitles.
Text. Read texts on. Read texts off. Read texts on. Volume.
English subtitles.
Polskie napisy.
English subtitles.
Restore default settings. Back. Continue. New game. Continue.
Xin hai đờ bích. Xin ba đờ rốt. Xin 4 commissioner grade.
Continue. New game.
Hello? Can you hear me? This is my final broadcast. German units just rolled into Owińska today. The Reichsokkulte Kräfte are breathing down my neck. I'm ordering an evacuation of the 20th.
Every story's gotta have a start. So I'm gonna kick this one off at a specific point. Yeah. My mind seriously needs an anchor to piece together what happened to me into something logical, even if it's all just delusions. 'Cause there never was a beginning, and maybe the start is still to come. Every time I try to frame the events into a coherent narrative, it just spirals into infinity or nothingness. The Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, is gonna haunt me till the end. The end of what? If there's no beginning, there's no end. It's enough to drive you nuts. Anyway, I'll start the story with that November morning when I was finishing my coffee on the Sopot beach. I'd closed a case, had the day off, and decided to just wander around by the sea. And then... Huh? The special line? You gotta be kidding me.
Hello, this is Commissioner Grat. Authorization code 66717. Verify yourself, please.
323232, Detective Malinowski.
Thank you, Detective. Code confirmed. I don't quite understand.
Just follow the instructions you got, Commissioner. I'll explain what I can when we meet up.
Understood. In that case, here's the address. Owińska, Przemysław Square 9.
Confirmed. See you there. Owińska. Well, that caught me off guard. One of the more interesting cases. Except it's been inactive for 80 years. All the threads were violently cut in 1939. What the hell could have surfaced there? Department 20. That's XX in Roman numerals. It's got 1x more than those famous TV files, and 1x less than that well-known action movie series. It's an independent secret unit formed in the 1920s. Its purpose? Investigating supernatural phenomena. My name is Ernest Malinowski. If the name rings a bell, then yes, it's true. I was named after the famous engineer because of the family name. But contrary to my father's ambitions, I chose a different path. Thanks to a certain childhood incident, I ended up in Department XX, where I investigate reports of UFOs and haunted castles. Yeah, I can see that smirk on your face. I react the same way to 99% of the reports that land on my desk, and trust me, Our preliminary filters for sensational claims are even more sensitive. But when I hear the name Owińska come from a local police commissioner, a signal starts to pierce through the noise. Before the war, there was a psychiatric hospital in Owińska. Our man there, Dr. Robert Drucki, investigated the abilities of a specific little girl and prepared an incredibly valuable report. Interfering beings. Unfortunately, the Germans had just invaded Poland, and the document never reached the department, which had to go underground. Luckily, for some reason, the Nazis didn't manage to seize the report either. How do I know that? If they had, they'd be running the world today. I got to Owińska around 2 p.m. I left my motorcycle in the square of the Baroque complex. The domed church and the monastery were built back in the Middle Ages, then refurbished around the 18th century, give or take. Both buildings had turrets. 3 tenements closed off the square, 1 on the left and 2 on the right. There were puddles everywhere, broken branches, a few downed trees, smashed windows, and tons of other signs of a violent storm. The commissioner was standing in front of the church doors.
Press space for help.
The post-monastery buildings, smashed windows in a couple of spots, probably from branches ripped off by the windstorm.
Follow the music.
Detective Malinowski?
Commissioner Grad, now we can talk.
Yeah. I was told not to pass along any information over the phone. Follow me, please.
What happened here? All this damage just from a draft?
The bell broke loose in the tower and crashed onto the stairs. The rubble damaged the door, and the wind pressure did the rest. Let's go up to the gallery. I'm warning you, it won't be a pleasant sight.
Did anyone get hurt during the storm?
Unfortunately, the situation is more serious than that. You'll see for yourself.
Follow the music.
I won't be snooping around here for now. A man's body was lying next to the organ, bent sideways, partially leaning against the wall. He was undoubtedly killed by a bullet, likely during a struggle. Something else caught my eye. Delicate streaks, as if something had exploded, covering part of the organ, the floor, and the wall with soot. The soot faded as it got further from the epicenter. Yet when I pressed my finger against the surface, I couldn't feel any physical substance.
That's Mark Kowalski, a library worker, 25 years old. Yesterday, him, his girlfriend Ellen May, and 2 Americans, a certain Mary Gale and Thomas Faredi, met in the monastery library. Soon after, the storm of the century broke out. The whole district is still without power, and there's no telling when they'll fix the damage.
Where are Ellen and the Americans?
That's our next problem. Ellen is unconscious in a nearby hospital, and Mary and Thomas have vanished without a trace.
You suspect them of...
We're not assuming anything yet. There are more mysteries. Our ballistics expert is interested in the weapon. After analyzing the casing, the bullet, and the wound, he concluded that it was most likely fired from a Luger P-08. Someone clearly kept a souvenir from the Second War. But the most interesting part is still ahead. Shortly after taking fingerprints from the organ keys and sending them to headquarters, we got a call from Warsaw with categorical instructions.
That's when you called me.
Yeah? Do you care to elaborate, Detective?
I'm afraid not. We both have to follow instructions.
Understood. In that case, I'm handing over the current case files for all 4 of them. You already have my phone number.
Thanks, Commissioner. Please continue your own investigation
And share anything significant I find. I'll call you when we establish contact with Ellen.
The investigative team didn't need me, so I decided to head back downstairs and contact headquarters. I was curious whose fingerprints had provoked such a violent reaction. Nobody's gonna hear me down here.
Ernest, did you make it there?
Hey, Chris. I just finished the initial interview. What's the deal with those prints?
You won't believe this. Subject 17.
Shh. That's impossible.
I'm serious. 17. Don't ask how it's possible. You're the one who needs to find the answer.
Chris, do you guys have anything else?
Nothing for now, just that. Did you get the files from Grad?
Yeah, I got them on me. Thanks.
Good. Update the channel on everything you find. There's a museum in the former monastery. Find the curator, Jakob Forscher. He'll set up a room for you during the investigation.
There's one more thing.
Yeah?
That kid who was shot. They pulled a Luger bullet out of him. Do you realize what that might mean combined with Subject 17?
I know. Be extremely careful. You're responsible for those people. I'll try to organize backup if problems show up, but you know how it is.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I'm in touch.
Bye.
Subject 17. The code name assigned to Obersturmführer Lazarus from the Reichsokkulte Kräfte, the Reich's occult forces, a secret unit reporting directly to Himmler, a mortal enemy of Department 20. Their capabilities before the war were far more powerful than ours. Lazarus eliminated the commander of our expedition to Lapland. We suspect he was involved in Dr. Drucky's disappearance, but the trails for both of them broke off right here in Owińska in 1939. I left the church. It was already getting dark in the square. Fog was slowly rolling in from the river. Only remnants of light barely pierced the overcast November sky. Owińska, already without power, would soon be engulfed by impenetrable darkness. I decided to head towards the old monastery. It's too late to be roaming around here today.
Detective Maliniak?
Malinowski.
Pleased to meet you. My name is Jakub Forscher. I'm the curator of the Monastery Museum.
Good evening, Mr. Jakub. Please call me by my first name. Ernest.
Oh, just like the famous engineer.
Indeed.
Detective Maliniak. I mean Ernest. Please come inside. I've prepared shelter for you.
Thank you. Can we talk about last night's events first?
Very well. Let's go to the library then. Commissioner Grad authorized me to show you all the locations.
We entered the library. Jakub lit a few candles, but their dim light barely allowed us to make out the shapes of the bookshelves, furniture, and chandeliers. Police had cordoned off a few spots with tape. Overturned chairs and objects scattered across the round table proved that something violent must have happened here.
They were probably here when the storm broke out and the power went off. Something must have frightened them. It looks like they scattered.
Did the police secure any objects?
They didn't take anything from here, but they thoroughly examined this album. It contains pre-war photos from the time when the psychiatric hospital operated in the monastery complex. A photograph is likely missing from the album. You can see the traces of it right here.
Do you remember what was on it?
No. Mark probably knew. But he won't be telling us anything now.
And his girlfriend, Ellen?
We found her unconscious in a car a few kilometers from here this morning. She was taken to the hospital. Her life isn't in danger, but it's uncertain when she'll wake up.
Jakub, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to look around.
Of course, please do.
I turned on my flashlight and carefully examined the album. It mostly contained photos of patients and staff from the 19th century up to 39. Black and white faces from a long-gone era. You have a very interesting map collection here.
My family has been involved in cartography for generations.
This book looks very old.
That's the Ducal Chronicle. I brought it over from the church. where I was translating selected texts from Latin. I almost lost them yesterday. Someone ripped pages out of my notebook, and the wind did the rest. It blew inside and scattered them throughout the naves. Luckily, I managed to gather them up.
The fate of the local aristocracy.
Not exactly. I came across accounts of strange occurrences affecting the local women. If it were only medieval entries, I'd dismiss it as folk superstition. But there are also stories from 100 years ago.
Can I take a look at them?
You can take them. They're right here. The texts aren't long. I managed to transcribe them. I don't think they'll help you with the investigation, but perhaps you too will feel that something is going on here.
What do you mean by that?
This place has a magical power. You'll see.
I won't find anything else here for now.
I'll show you to your room then. We'll stop by my office for the keys on the way.
Do you want a flashlight, Jakob?
No need. I like the glow of the candles. Welcome to my headquarters.
Cozy little spot you got here. Your collection of ancient devices is just as rich as the maps in the library.
I keep some of the museum's collections here. I repair, supplement, and acquire new exhibits.
Toys?
We found a few while renovating the basement. They likely belonged to the children from the hospital. No one had ventured down there for about 50 years.
That ragdoll cat has mesmerizing eyes.
Doesn't it? It's just a bit of gray cloth and a couple of buttons, yet you feel like you're dealing with a living creature.
One eye looks like it's made of a pebble or tarnished metal.
Could be. Oh, I have the keys. We can go.
I'm drifting too far off track.
I leave the key. I lit the fireplace and left you something for dinner. Do you need anything else, Detective Maliniak?
Malinowski, you've done much more than I could have expected, Jakob. Regarding the bill...
Please don't worry about it. I want these Americans found and the investigation solved just as much as you do.
Thank you. That will be all then.
Then I'll see you tomorrow.
See you then. A pleasant warmth came from the fireplace. The room was small but high, with arches crossing on the vault like in some Gothic cathedral. I lit the candles and spread the files on the table. I read them carefully, but I didn't find too many starting points. Ellen and Mark were a couple. She was a school teacher. He worked in the library. We knew even less about Mary and Thomas. All four were communicating in an archaeological group. And according to one thread, Mark had found information that might shed light on Mary's origins. We would learn more from their direct chats, but unfortunately their phones were missing after that fateful night. Ellen was found unconscious behind the wheel of a car on the roadside a few kilometers from the monastery. Of course, the police didn't know about Lazarus, but even if I told them, no one would believe in the presence of a missing Nazi who would be around 130 years old today. I didn't believe it myself. We were dealing with some bizarre hoax, or maybe time travel. In light of the information we held in the archives, it was theoretically possible, but we had always classified it as the phantasmagoria of frightened witnesses. We had always managed to find a rational explanation. I woke up early. The embers had already faded, and the chill yanked me out of sleep, though it was still dark. I decided to check the attic. The police files indicated someone had knocked down a partition wall up there. I grabbed my flashlight, made sure I had my weapon, and headed for the door. The amount of junk gathered in this attic would be enough to build another museum. It looks like nobody set foot in here for 100 years. I looked The windstorm had carried a branch that punched a hole through the roof and was now hanging in the attic. Whipped by the draft, it swung like a pendulum. I could barely squeeze past devices of unknown purpose. Dusty tools, boxes, and bottles covered in cobwebs. This must be it. The beam of the flashlight revealed a hole in the wall. Red bricks lay underneath, and a sledgehammer leaned against the wall nearby. What the hell is this? Someone carved the inscription, Thomas 1939, onto one of the bricks. I examined it closely and compared it to the others. It bore clear traces of having been wiped clean by a hand. Did my Thomas, the one I'm looking for, want to pass on a message? I looked at the brick again. If the inscription were fresh, the grooves would be light-colored and have sharp edges. Instead, dirt had eaten into the crevices, and time had smoothed the edges. It looked more like someone had spotted the scratches on the brick, cleaned the surface, and found an old inscription. How old? Was it done 80 years ago? I went back to my room. I made some coffee and pulled out Jakob's translations. April 8th, Anno Domini 1286. A great calamity befell the monastery. In a single night, Sister Clara fell gravely ill, and we lost contact with her. She suddenly began screaming in an unknown tongue and foaming at the mouth, causing universal terror. Bishop Martian performed an exorcism, but Sister Clara's condition only worsened. Her eyes bulged and reddened with blood, as if they would leap from their sockets. The skin of her face stretched taut, revealing the shape of her skull. June 11th, Anno Domini 1309. When the Teutonic Knights invaded Pomerania, a small company of armed men reached Owińska. They threatened to burn the monastery and the village if they did not receive gold. In the morning, the Mother Superior found the bodies of the knights in the dormitory. Among them lay the body of a woman dressed in a white gown and adorned with flowers. The older sisters recognized Sister Clara, who had vanished years earlier. November the 16th, Anno Domini 1657. Winter fell too early upon the people afflicted by war and pestilence. Barely 1 in 2 homes remained inhabited. The Swedish invader sent a garrison to Owińska to combat the rebels. During the pacification of the village, the apparition of a woman appeared, in whom the villagers recognized the face of the herbalist Jadwiga. The soldiers fled in fear, yet the next day the woman was apprehended and burnt at the stake for sorcery. As the flames touched her face, Jadwiga suddenly vanished, taking with her Captain Jensen and 2 other soldiers. The Swedes deemed the place cursed and ceased harassing the village. December 6th, Anno Domini, 1806. Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte arrived on horseback, accompanied by his generals, to view the monastery and the adjoining gardens. Officially, it was a mere ride. However, the church archives concerning the events of 1657 were confiscated. May 3rd, Anno Domini, 1885. In the morning, Sister Anna Kudowska arrived at the railway station. She halted the departure of the train and ran into the passenger car. At that moment, the locomotive's boiler exploded. The engineer perished on the spot, and the car burnt down. When firefighters extinguished the fire, they found neither the woman's body nor any of the 8 passengers inside. April 25th, Anno Domini 1913. Magda Ossowska, a famous medium from Warsaw, visited Owińska. As soon as she left the carriage, she fell into a trance. "They are here!" she screamed. "She is here!" Fortunately, personnel from the nearby psychiatric hospital gave the woman immediate aid, and she recovered her senses. A spine-tingling read. We have the account of Ossowska in the department archives, but I didn't know about these medieval threads at all. I'll send photos of the pages to headquarters. Maybe they'll find something. Chris, I'm sending the Chronicle translations. Check if there's any connection to the Lazarus case. After breakfast, I decided to search the church for traces more thoroughly. It would also be a good idea to examine the monastery catacombs.
Can I help you with anything, Ernest?
Actually, yes. I'd like to go down into the catacombs this afternoon.
That's quite impossible. They were backfilled a long time ago. We only have access to a small part of the cellar. But the police already checked it and found no traces of our missing people.
I understand. In that case, I won't disturb you.
No problem at all. Just drop by if you need anything.
Police cars are gone. I wonder if I'll find anyone still in the church. There was no one left in the sanctuary. Quite a bit of light was streaming in through the windows. Someone had lit candles at the altar and in the side chapels. I went up the stairs to the gallery. Mark's death site had been taped off. The body had, of course, already been removed. I looked again at the streaks from what I had yesterday taken to be an explosion. There were definitely fewer of them, and they had clearly faded. What substance could leave such an ephemeral trace? Time to check the sacristy. Traces of blood near the collapsed stairs to the tower. Who left them? The killer? Maybe one of the missing people. Certainly not Mark. We would have found impact marks on his body. There was nothing like that in his files. Yes?
Ernest, we searched the archives for those little historical tales you sent.
And?
We have the diary of Anna Kudowska, the nun who vanished along with 8 passengers during the locomotive explosion. Generally, they're just ordinary notes on her daily tasks. But 2 days before the accident, something changes. The handwriting betrays strong emotions. On the last page, there are only 6 blots and a sign of the cross. It was drawn so heavily that it indented the pages beneath it.
Can you send me a photo?
Sure, you'll get it right away. And besides that, anything new in the investigation?
Nah, nothing groundbreaking. Traces of blood near the entrance to the tower stairs. In the attic, where someone broke a hole, there's a brick with the inscription, Thomas 1939. Our missing guy's name, but based on a preliminary examination, the brick looks very old.
Weird.
Like most of our cases. Okay, I got the photo. I'll reach out if anything new comes up.
Thanks. Keep in touch.
I took a close look at the last page of Sister Kudowska's diary. 6 blots and a distinct cross. Could these just be final, random scribbles from a mind under some mysterious, unimaginable pressure? Or perhaps a constellation? I decided to ask Jakob if they meant anything to him. I have nothing to look for here for now. I'm going to Jakob's office. I found the office empty. Jakob had obviously not gone far, as there was still fresh coffee steaming on his desk. I took a closer look at what he was working on. He was gluing together some kind of ancient pipe or something similar. I stared, trying to guess the purpose of the strange object.
That's an 18th century pen for the blind. A special powder is poured inside. The secrets of its manufacture were lost 100 years ago, and I am currently trying to recreate that very secret. When writing with it, a raised, fast-drying layer was created, which allowed the blind to read long before the invention of the Braille alphabet.
Interesting.
I have plenty of similar exhibits here, but I suppose that's not why you came?
No. I have an image that might mean something, or it might just be the result of chance.
Show me... That looks familiar.
Really?
Yes. If we had electricity, I would display the image on the computer. It's so small on a phone.
I'll sketch it out on paper. And is there any news on when the power outage will be fixed?
No, but if you need to charge your phone, I have a battery accumulator.
No need. I have a special battery. It will last a long time. Knock on wood. Commissioner Grad.
Detective Malinowski. Ellen has regained consciousness.
I'll be right there.
She's still in deep shock. We asked a few questions, but the doctors wouldn't let us continue. She confirmed there were 4 of them in the library. Mark had connected one of the pre-war patients to the American woman. She was most likely her great-grandmother. When they opened an album of old photos, there was some kind of short circuit. It's hard to say what she meant because at that moment, Ellen broke down and we lost contact with her for a moment. The doctor had to interrupt the interview.
A short circuit.
That's what she said. It might have been related to the storm and the power outage, though the electricity failing shouldn't by itself cause such shock.
Did you manage to find out anything else?
She vaguely remembers that she thinks she was driving in the rain. She drove by memory. She even managed to pull off the road and turn off the engine before she lost consciousness.
Can I try to talk to her?
You'll have to ask the doctor.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Commissioner.
No problem. I'm counting on your cooperation if you found anything.
I might have something, but right now the leads are so improbable that I would only mess up your investigation. You're also aware that any information I pass on to you will remain solely for your knowledge. You can't leave any trace or inform your superiors.
I remember the instructions, Detective Malinowski.
Okay. Those fingerprints from the organ. They belong to a very dangerous individual.
I figured as much.
That's not all. This individual, according to our intelligence, went missing in 1939.
Are you trying to tell me, Detective, that someone faked the fingerprints of a murderer from 80 years ago?
No. I want to tell you that no one faked them.
You're joking.
I warned you. This is no ordinary investigation. You saw the effects of the Luger shot yourself.
Well, yes, but... damn. This whole thing is seriously messed up.
Please remain on standby, Commissioner. Now I have to go see Ellen.
Right.
Please do not question the patient about the accident. The shock was too deep, and attempts to bring back memories could lead to permanent brain damage.
I understand. I will try to talk about what happened before the short circuit.
I will remain on standby.
Good morning, Ellen. How are you feeling?
Who are you?
My name is Ernest Malinowski. I am a detective. My job is to ensure your safety.
I don't remember anything.
I will not question you about any events. I would just like the answer to one question.
I don't remember anything.
You told the commissioner about the album with old photos. Is that memory safe?
Yes, I remember. They had a photo, just like in our album, with the patients. One of them was Mary's great-grandmother. I remember now.
Were there two identical photos? The Americans had one, and you had the other.
No, not identical.
Easy, Ellen. I'm here with you.
There was a little girl with a kitten in our photo, a mascot. And then it started.
Shh. It's all right. Come back to me. We are in the hospital. The doctor will be here in a moment.
That cat.
Yes?
It had such a strange eye. A strange eye.
She fell asleep. You won't get anything more out of her. Please let her rest.
Thank you, Ellen. You helped me. I rode back to Owińska. The electricity still hadn't been restored. The November day was burning out fast. Another night in the monastery awaited me. However, I had a lead. Luckily for me, a suppressed glow of candlelight seeped out from the window of Jakub's studio.
Come in. Ernest, did you manage to talk to Ellen?
Yes. I know which photo disappeared from the album. It depicted hospital patients from 80 years ago, before the war. One of the patients was the great-grandmother of Mary, the American woman. The Americans had a similar photo from somewhere. When they compared them, it turned out that the photo from the album additionally featured a little girl with a mascot kitten. When Ellen recalled the cat, she fell into a kind of trance. She kept repeating that it had a strange eye, after which she fell asleep.
A strange eye. Like our ragdoll cat.
Do you remember how it ended up here, Jakub?
We pulled these toys out of the underground a few years ago. Yes. Now it's starting to fall into place for me.
What?
We excavated one cellar, the one we currently use. Among the objects and debris, we found strange stones. A few days later, a commission from the university arrived and confiscated them.
Strange stones. Like the eye of our mascot kitten.
Yes, now it's perfectly clear. The image I sketched from your photo. I told you it reminded me of something.
Well?
I've drawn many maps of our area. Those aren't blots. That's a map with marked craters. The craters from the Morasco meteorite. And those stones? Those stones.
They were meteorites, like the eye of our kitten. I rode to Morasco in the evening. It was cold, dark, and raining. On top of that, my phone battery died. Never mind. Jakob said he had a power bank. I packed the mascot cat, a flashlight, and the local map I got from Jakob, which I wrapped in foil so it wouldn't get wet. All right, let's check the map. The cross from Anna Kudowska's diary was drawn near the largest crater, so I should be heading somewhere over there. I have a vague feeling of someone's presence. I think it's that cat from the backpack. I swear it's glowing. After turning the flashlight off, I can see a clear glow. You aren't trying to tell me, friend, that I should have brought a Geiger counter. Wait, my hands, those streaks. I saw a similar trace near the organ, where Mark died. What the?
Follow the sources of the music and turn off all tracks until only the pulse is beating in the center.
Thomas!
I'm sorry, it's Ernest, but I want to save Thomas too. First, we need to get out of this labyrinth. You must be Mary.
Perhaps. Who are you?
Detective Ernest Malinowski. My assignment is to find you and a certain Thomas Faredi, who went missing in Owińska on November 3rd, 2019.
Well, you've completed half the task. Here I am. Although finding me doesn't change much. Not since I became trapped here.
Indeed, I don't recognize this place. It's somehow shapeless. I'm closer to believing I've lost consciousness, and you're a charming figment of my imagination.
Perhaps you are physically in your world, but your consciousness has entered this strange world, from which I cannot escape.
Let's use first names, Mary. I admit that even as a researcher of paranormal phenomena, let's not lose focus with questions about details. I feel completely lost in this environment, and have no idea how to safely leave it.
You will wake up, and I will remain here.
How do you know? Has someone been here before me?
Not with me, but I have insights into the real world. I saw terrible things. That poor boy from the library.
Mark? Did you see him die?
Yes. When something threatens the lives of people close to me, I fall into a kind of trance. I start seeing. I barely knew Mark, but Thomas is very dear to me. I cannot intervene directly. It's like I pull fragments of reality out of the world. I can't describe it. I don't know what happens next.
And what exactly did you see when Mark died?
I saw a man in a German wartime uniform. He stood by the organ and pointed a pistol at Thomas. I was terrified. Everything started to spin. Suddenly, Mark grew from the side, throwing himself at the Nazi, trying to snatch the weapon from his hand. I heard a shot, and I woke up from the trance. I knew that Thomas was saved.
It's hard to believe, but everything indicates that this dark figure in the uniform is a real SS man from 1939, whom we know by the mysterious pseudonym Dr. Lazarus.
I am even certain of it. It all came back to me when we saw the photos, just before this all started. The photos were almost identical. They were supposed to show my great-grandmother among the psychiatric hospital patients. But then I saw the little girl in the second photo, and it dawned on me that woman was my mother, and I was the little girl.
I'm no expert on women, but you don't look 80 years old to me.
My earliest memories date back to the beginning of the 21st century, when my adoptive parents took care of me. When I saw the photos, the door opened to fragments of an earlier memory, but my mind clearly couldn't handle the situation. I only regained consciousness here, in this strange mid-world. You can think I'm crazy.
If you're crazy, then I am too. I've seen too many improbable phenomena. Imagine, a mascot kitten brought me here.
A kitten? Show him to me. That's Blinky, my little Blinky. I had him there in the hospital when I was a child. Thomas saved us then.
Is Thomas from a different era too?
No, he is a guest there. When I met him in my new life, in 2015, he had a normal family. Something drew me to him. Now I know what. Thomas was trapped in the past, in 1939. He found me there and saved me from the Nazis. From that dreadful Lazarus.
Since he was in the monastery hospital in 1939, and also the day before yesterday in 2019. Then...
he was pulled into the past when Lazarus shot Mark.
What's happening? Do you know this?
You are returning to reality. Take Blinky. You must save Thomas. Bring him back.
Oh hell, it's freezing. I have nothing left to look for here. I'm going back to Owińska to change into something dry and write down all these revelations before I go completely insane. I returned late. The overcast sky let through no light from the moon or stars, and the former monastery, devoid of electricity, seemed even more desolate. Only a weak gleam from a dying candle flickered from Jakob's studio. Is open. Hey, Jakob, are you here? He must have gone out somewhere. The candle is almost completely burnt out. I'll check the library to see if he's there. Jakob! He was lying by the desk. A fatal gunshot wound to the heart. I couldn't do anything. Damn you, Lazarus! I knelt beside the body. The curator's hand was frozen on a piece of paper. I gently slid it out and read the words, scribbled with his final effort. Ernest. He was looking for the stones. Run. Protect the K. So Lazarus already knew about the meteorites. Did he know about the cat, too? Running away seemed very tempting. I couldn't even call for backup. But I had an ace up my sleeve, or rather, tucked into my belt. A Beretta 950, a pistol a whole era better than the Nazis' World War II relic. If Lazarus is looking for the stones, he must have gone down to the underground. You leave me no choice. Today one of us is taking a bullet. I stepped back towards the gate where the building plan was hanging. The entrance to the basement is located on the west wall. The arches and columns of the former cloister were built in with windows. Candles were burning on the sills every few meters. Good. With a flashlight, I'd be an easy target. It must have just been a draft. The corridor is clear. Candles on the stairs. You're expecting me. The doors to the basements are ajar. There is also a light source inside. Empty. What are you playing at, Lazarus? Why did you lure me here? A few crates, some old machinery, shelves, bottles, tools, even a few paintings leaning against the massive arches of the Gothic columns. In the rear of the basement, I noticed shelves pushed aside by a pile of planks and debris. I found an entrance to a buried part of the underground. Lazarus must have been tinkering here. I felt around the obstruction and hit a gap between the vault and the upper part of the mound. If I squeeze into that tunnel, I have every chance of winning a Darwin Award. Provided someone finds my body, that is. Artificial light. A generator must be running here. The room resembled the interior of a bunker. A desk, metal cabinets, a map on the wall, an old crank telephone, and an armored door. It looks like no one has dug their way in here since the war. Lazarus clearly knew the layout of the rooms. Everything confirmed Mary's words. If she pulled Thomas into the year 39, she somehow must have brought Lazarus into our time dimension as well. A radio station. I wonder if it still works. And next to it, a radio receiver. Let's check. I stood in the doorway, which was slightly ajar. Gloom prevailed inside. The passage was blocked by debris, traces of an explosion from many years ago. The top of a massive table jutted out from beneath the partially collapsed vault. From the right side of the cell, a sinister shadow of Lazarus emerged.
Put down your pistol.
So you can shoot me like Mark and Jacob, you scoundrel.
If I wanted to kill you, I would have done it already.
You've made a mistake then. I intend to end your criminal career.
And what about your superiors? They won't be happy if you eliminate the sole source of answers to questions of shall we say, transcendental nature.
I'll figure something out.
You can certainly pull the trigger. Unfortunately, you'll bury Thomas with me, whom, if I've understood correctly, you are looking for. Nomen omen, it seems he has genuinely split in two.
Yeah. And if I listen to you, you'll bring Thomas to me. We'll shake hands and seal a successful deal.
More or less. You have something with you that poor Jakub was safeguarding. Just take it out of your backpack, and I will reminisce. We'll play at conjuring the spirit of Sarah, the woman I interrogated in this very cell in 1939. She was the mother of the little girl I came to Owińska for back then. She never revealed her daughter's hiding place until the very end. But she didn't die. She wanders outside time and space.
What do you want with that child?
And why should you care? I am not interested in the problems of human worms. In 1939, I am an Obersturmführer. I have complete authority in Owińska. I will release you and Thomas to this dimension in exchange for your cooperation.
It dawned on me then. That child was Mary. Lazarus wanted to penetrate her mind to gain insight into space-time. Even if he kept his word and released Thomas and me, the consequences for humanity could be catastrophic. Should I have killed Lazarus then? Mary remained trapped in the midworld and asked me to save Thomas. I felt I had to bring both of them back here safely. Fine. I will cooperate. But you leave your pistol here, and I keep mine.
Now, the cat. They are...
The eyes made of meteorite?
The catalyst.
Okay, what now?
Shoot me!
Have you stopped worrying about my superior's reaction?
You cannot kill consciousness trapped in a time crystal. A threat to life activates the crystal's vibration and teleports the object.
Then why did you lure me here? Why did you kill Jakub? Couldn't you have just shot yourself in the head and returned to where you came from?
Jakub did not synchronize with the crystal, and I need to be certain that I land in 39. Which is why I need the artifacts you brought. Has your curiosity been satisfied?
Not entirely. If I shoot you, let's assume the teleport sends you back 80 years. But what about me? My life isn't threatened. I'll be stuck here.
Not if I shoot you too. Maybe you'll be luckier than Jakub and fly away with me. See you on the other side, partner.
How to describe time travel? In movies, some swirling tunnels suck the hero in. I don't remember much. One moment I shot Lazarus in a dark cell. The next, everything in my head began to crumble. Absurd thoughts seemed logical. Memories of situations I couldn't have lived through surfaced. I merged with some collective consciousness, as if I had access to all events that had ever occurred or were yet to appear. I cannot determine how long I lingered in this state, whether it was a split second or an eternity. I only remember the feeling when I was torn out of that condition. The kaleidoscope of thoughts began to crystallize, first into a misty image, and then into the distinct silhouette of the monastery towers and the treetops on the hill, illuminated by the full moon. I was kneeling in dried-up marshland. The river rushed nearby to my left. Slowly, the memory of the last moments before teleportation returned. Lazarus instantly reached for the pistol he had placed on the table earlier, and we both fired simultaneously. I survived. So according to his words, I was trapped in a time crystal. What does that mean? Can I not be killed? Will I be moved to another era every time my life is threatened? That aligned with the entries in the Ducal Chronicle that Jakub translated. All those improbable events involving the nuns. Will I wander through the ages just like them? Enough. I had to act. I landed near the monastery. The question is, what year is it? Well, it's certainly not 2019. I need to sneak in unnoticed. I emerged from the trees onto a path. From there I could already see the wall surrounding the monastery. The shots were clearly fired outside, closer to the river. Following the wall would lead me to the gate, but it was certainly guarded, and I did not believe in Lazarus's goodwill on his own turf, and in his own time. This stream flows out of a canal at the base of the wall. If there are no grates, I should be able to get through it to the garden at the back of the monastery. I can't possibly get any wetter anyway. There were no grates, and the water in the stream turned out to be clean. I hope. And cold. Luckily, the garden was not lit. Every so often, a searchlight beam cut across the sky from behind the wall, but it had no chance of reaching me. I need to find a safe entry into the monastery. I reached the wall. I didn't notice any basement windows at this spot. I listened for a moment under the ground floor windows to see if there were soldiers inside. I spotted a faint glow of light twice. The building was garrisoned. What now? Gutter with a lightning conductor wire leading to a lightning rod. I looked up. A small window on the roof reflected the moonlight. I then distinctly felt that this was where I had to enter. That's where I will find the answers. If the wire doesn't detach, if I don't slip on the wet tiles, if the searchlight doesn't catch me, if no one guards the attic, and if no one hears me break the pane, I have a chance to survive. I found myself in the attic. One could say I had already explored it 80 years later. And then I remembered the sole link to Thomas. The brick engraved with the inscription, Thomas 1939. I am on the opposite side of the building. Going deeper inside should lead me to the stairs leading down to the floor below, towards the chamber where I stayed in 2019.
Damn it! I thought this would be easier.
I would expect to hear Scheisse from a German soldier's mouth. I presume, therefore, that I have finally found you, Thomas. Please put down that stylus, Mr. Ferredi. I am a Polish detective, assigned in 2019 to search for you and Mary Gale.
Did you arrive in a time machine? Because even if we manage to get out of here, I don't think anyone is waiting for me in America. My grandparents, if I remember correctly, are just learning to crawl somewhere in British India.
The time machine is a little girl.
I know, Rose. But we're unlucky. When we were escaping the Nazis together, she teleported somewhere, dragging their boss with her in the process.
I spoke to her.
Here? Is she alright?
No, not here. In a different place and time. And she wasn't a little girl anymore.
So she survived. That's a good thing, at least.
She survived. You know her well, after all.
What? We met again later?
Yes. Your acquaintance Mary told me that she was that little girl.
Mary? Jesus! I thought you was her grandmother. So that's it. This whole time web. Everything was woven decades before I was even born.
Well, it's a complicated situation, and it's getting more complicated. A certain Lazarus who is hunting Mary probably came here with me, or rather, returned from the future. He knows you.
That Nazi who killed Mark and then interrogated me. We were fighting by the boat. Rose panicked. A portal opened. A moment later, neither she nor Lazarus was there. I used the moment to hide in the bushes and sneak back to the monastery. I swore revenge on Lazarus.
We are on his turf now, and hopefully Mary isn't here.
Rose.
Excuse me?
That little girl who later became Mary is named Rose.
So there is no Rose here, the person he wants.
All I have left of her is this ragdoll cat.
That's Blinky!
How do you know?
I have no idea how what we are doing today affects the future. But if there's any logic to time travel, this mascot will be found in the basement among children's toys several decades from now. Lazarus said he tortured Rose's mother in the underground. To return to 1939, he lured me into the underground in 2019. Using the meteorite the eye of that mascot is made of, he summoned a portal.
Rose's mother is named Sarah. There is a strong connection between them. I had contact with her. She brought me here once before so I could save Rose.
Perhaps if we break through to the underground, Blinky could help us travel through time again. By the way, hello, Ernest Malinowski.
Thomas Faredi, pleased to meet you. These stairs lead down to the ground floor hall. Then we have to cross to the opposite end of the courtyard, and the descent to the underground is only there. The chances of no one seeing us are 0.
I know. I know the layout of the monastery. I suspect not much has changed since 2019. If only we could sneak into the library. We could find a temporary hideout there.
I was just in there. right before the Germans arrived. I found a letter from some doctor who was examining Rose. He even wrote a book about it. Before they caught me, I managed to find the book and hide it under the carpet.
Wait, don't tell me that doctor was Dr. Drucky.
Yes, the same one. The book had a distinctive title, something about entities.
Interfering beings.
Exactly.
Where exactly did you hide it?
By the steps to the mezzanine, between a bookshelf and a round table.
We must get that report. You don't realize its importance.
Is it more important than our lives? We have no chance of going down there.
Sooner or later, the soldiers will start searching the attic. We aren't safe here either. And if Dr. Drucky's report falls into Lazarus's hands, I don't know if anyone in the world will be safe.
And would you be able to use that report to our advantage?
I don't know. We only suspect what's in it.
We?
I work for a certain organization. Unfortunately, I cannot reveal the details to you.
In the current situation, those details are irrelevant to me. Only saving Mary matters. Listen, we've cornered ourselves. Soldiers were looking for me by the river, so the only place I could take shelter was the monastery. It's only a matter of minutes, maybe dozens of minutes, before they find us. But while most of the soldiers are still outside, I'll draw the attention of those who stayed here. I'll let myself be caught, and you use the moment of confusion to infiltrate the library. Read Dooku's report and figure something out before they start torturing me.
You surprise me. I should protest. But I don't see any other option for getting out of here. I will do everything to get us out.
Then let's not waste time. I'll go down first and start making some noise. Maybe they won't shoot right away.
They need you alive.
One more thing. Take Blinky with you. Since that mascot has a piece of the meteorite in it, as you claim, which might save us, it would be foolish if they took it from me during a search.
The way is clear. I hadn't told Thomas I had a pistol. I wouldn't achieve much with it against the overwhelming superiority of the enemy. I made it. All the guards ran after Thomas. This is my only chance. Carefully slipped into the library. It was empty. It's here. It was lying under the rug, in the spot indicated by Thomas. I hid myself in the deepest part of the library between two bookshelves, pulled out my invaluable flashlight, opened the legendary report of Dr. Drucky, agent of Department XX from 1939, and began to read. Tempus fugit, eternitas manet. Time flees, eternity waits. There are three forces in the universe. Just as next to light and darkness there is shadow, and the past and the future converge in the present. It seems to us that only two opposing forces are always fighting. Good and evil, life and death, black and white. However, there is a force between them, one that tips the scales to one side. Sometimes one way, sometimes the other. It binds reality in eternal chaos. 3 is also the number of man, who consists of body, mind, and spirit. The body belongs to life, the spirit to the kingdom of death, and the mind to the third reality, the midworld. A philosophical introduction, undoubtedly interesting, but I don't have time for theory right now. I flipped through a few pages, ran into some familiar drawings, kept reading. Evidently the matter does not originate from our star system. It partially mixed with the substance of the meteorite. I left it on the countertop for several days. In daylight I noticed a faint glow. I moved the matter to a shelf. The glow persisted for about a day. It did not react with any cleaning agents or chemical reagents. The radio wave detector did not register any signals. Let's see further. The research report. Research report. Day 142. I held the wave detector to the heads of all 3 patients. No activity in the substance field. It was only when I directed the antenna at the little girl that the glow began to pulsate harmonically, and in a completely unexpected manner. A film resembling varnish settled on the surface, then immediately disappeared, only to cover it again moments later. This movement seemed to occur in time, rather than on the surface. Next came a detailed description of the research procedures with the interpretation of the results. The report also contained Dr. Drucky's personal journal. I glanced at the final entries. August 26th, 1939. England confirmed security guarantees for Poland. Hitler will not dare start another world war. I will never understand how that band of Nazi degenerates managed to seize control of the German nation. Copies of the documents confiscated by Napoleon have finally arrived from my French ally. I couldn't have been luckier. As I suspected, the witch trial of 1657 was merely a show for the common folk. Alchemist Twardowski himself was brought in for Jadwiga's interrogation. I finally have a detailed procedure for inducing a medium into a trance. I'm attaching a copy to this report. In a few weeks, I will possess a weapon capable of changing history. September 1st, 1939. The enemy attacked along the entire border. I have lost contact with the department. All events seem to be aiding Nomen Omen, that Lazarus. According to instructions, I have 2 days to destroy the documentation and cover my tracks. To hell with instructions, I co-wrote them myself. I am beginning the seance with Rose. I have gotten too close to the source to squander humanity's greatest discovery. September 2nd, 1939. It wasn't until the evening that I broke free from the lethargy. The human mind cannot bear the burden of eternity. I survived a glimpse into eons. I saw beings and civilizations millions of years ago ground into dust by time. Everywhere dead, lifeless, icy rocks or burning plasma. From this perspective, Today's war seems like a decaying autumn leaf that will be gone without a trace tomorrow. The feeling of meaninglessness and the fragility of life paralyzed me for many hours. But I pulled out of it. My desires, conscious and unconscious, crystallized into one: to save this world. I must go back to the time when the Nazis came to power and do something to stop them. Before they arrive here, as long as she is here, that little girl is the gate. This was the last entry in the journal, the final trace of our agent's existence. According to the note from September 2nd, 1939, he underwent a mysterious seance to stop the Nazis from coming to power in Germany. Well, all signs point to the fact that he either failed or ended up in another dimension. Something was bothering me. Yet I didn't have time to study the journal. I had to go back to the research description and find a way to get Thomas and myself out. 15 minutes later, I had a plan. Could I have done differently? I don't know, because I still don't know what I don't know. At the department, we follow an ancient principle. If you face a choice and are unable to properly assess what to do, entrust it to fate, the gods, fortune, destiny, or whatever you choose to call it. Place the decision in the hands of a higher power and accept it without hesitation as the only right one. I pulled out a coin, a quarter-ounce Krugerrand, which I keep for such occasions, and tossed it. So, the antelope. So be it. Or it was evidently meant to be. I disengaged the safety on my pistol and headed for the exit. The corridor seemed empty. The pale moonlight streamed through the windows overlooking the courtyard. It was enough to light the way to the underground, and faint enough that I could hide behind the columns if necessary. I made it. The stairs also look empty. This time, I needed my own light source. I covered the flashlight with my hand and switched it to economy mode. These are the doors that led to the basement in 2019, from which I got into the underground interrogation rooms. I can't see any light or hear any sounds from the gap under the door. No one. Evidently, fate is smiling upon me. What is this? In the corner between the crates, there was a mound of toys piled up. Rag dolls, teddy bears, wooden puppets. A chill ran down my spine when I remembered what the Nazis did to the patients of the psychiatric hospital. I pulled Blinky out from under my jacket and pushed him deep into the toys. Hold on, little cat. If everything goes according to plan, Jakob will find you half a century from now. I reached the place from which I squeezed through the mound in 2019. In 1939, metal doors stood here. This time I must be prepared for company. The radio signal is much better than in the future. Let's hope the radio station works just as well. Hello, hello? Can you hear me? This is my final broadcast. German units just rolled into Owińska today. The Reichsokkulte Kräfte are breathing down my neck. I'm ordering an evacuation of the 20th. Will history come full circle? Did I just save the department that will recruit me in a few decades? These are the same doors behind which I met Lazarus in 2019 in the half-collapsed cell. The vaulting was intact. Thomas was tied to a chair at the table. Above him stood the dark silhouette of Lazarus. On the table, a glow emanated from the scattered stones.
Ha ha ha! Congratulations! You survived. You achieved immortality in the time crystal. I appreciate your tenacity and zeal in tracking me down.
I am, after all, named Ernest, nomen omen. Zeal is part of my identity. And from what I see, you attach importance to the ancient concept that a name determines its owner's fate. Isn't that right, Dr. Drucky?
You surprise me, Ernest.
You no less surprise me. From an agent of our intelligence, terrified of the invasion of his own homeland, to the founder of the Reichsokkulte Kräfte, the Reich's occult forces. I cannot fathom how a man of such brilliant intellect joined this horde of barbarians who misled the German nation.
I despise them just as much as you do. I have never personally committed a senseless crime. If I killed, it was in battle or for the greater good. I do not intend to burn at the stake to save a few innocent victims. I am playing for a higher stake. Like it or not, the cogs of time operate on a different scale. Everything that can happen and everything that has happened is accounted for, so that now is as it is. And it is I, Lazarus, the resurrected, who has been marked by fate to be the first man to consciously break the continuity of time and bring immortality to humanity.
Eternal torment without the possibility of any change. Is that the immortality you desire? That is no gift. It is a curse.
I will not waste time speculating. My body and my mind. This is the reality I must preserve. Therefore, we shall now take a trip to the Midworld, to our little Rose, who, as Mr. Thomas claims, grew into a big girl named Mary.
Stop!
Put down the pistol. You know well that no one in this room can die. The Ouroboros pendulum has torn us from Cronus's embrace. Furthermore, for the journey, I need someone who has already visited the Midworld. And our friend Thomas has had such an opportunity. A bit of dynamite and will take quite a flight.
Perhaps you can explain to me, Detective Malinowski, what happened here? The body of the custodian Jakub rests in the library. You are lying in the basement to which burnt-out candles lead. At least you are lying alive.
Commissioner Grad, what day is it?
November 7th.
Did you find Thomas?
You are the only living person I have met today.
That's bad.
Indeed.
I think, however, that I know the killer's whereabouts.
Should I call for backup?
That won't be necessary. Please follow me, Commissioner.
Are we supposed to go in here?
Sometimes you have to suck in your gut and get your hands a little dirty, Commissioner. The lights were still on.
How do you know this place?
I've been here twice before. Would you believe that I listened to a broadcast from this radio?
Normally, I would say no.
Behind these ajar doors.
Please stand back, Detective.
The pistol won't be necessary, Commissioner. There are no living people in there anymore. We entered the half-buried cell. No one inside. On the table, the mascot, the ragdoll cat Blinky. I didn't want to draw Commissioner Grad's attention to it. Guided by intuition, I began to clear the rubble from the collapsed corner. The Commissioner joined me, and within a few minutes we uncovered fragments of a uniform. A moment later, weathered bones appeared.
Judging by the uniform, this was once the killer, but not the one we're looking for.
Please trust me, this is the one. You can examine his pistol.
Are you making fun of me, Detective?
I am deadly serious. The Commissioner measured me with his eyes. Whether it was my determined look or my clothes, muddied from crawling in streams and rubble, that convinced him I wasn't joking. I'm not insane either.
I gather that. Although I don't have the highest opinion of headquarters, I wouldn't suspect them of hiring lunatics. The glow. Just like by Mark's body near the organ. Do you know its origin?
Yes and no. It's definitely not radioactive, and it's not of terrestrial origin.
What exactly is going on here, Detective Malinowski?
Even if I told you, Commissioner, you wouldn't believe me. Please accept this one thing, however. The killer lies here and will never return, although he dedicated his entire life to grasping eternity.
He opened the box with a bomb?
Worse. He believed he would master the laws of the universe, and got so entangled that he met himself, thereby sealing his own fate. It seems that Kronos wields a power mightier than Ouroboros.
And what am I supposed to do with all this, Detective Malinowski?
What you usually do in such cases. File the records away in the Unsolved Cases archive. You're not going to accuse a skeleton of murder, are you? My mission here ends, Commissioner. I must take the mascot, the source of the glow. I immediately headed to the Marasco craters. In the light of day, they no longer look so mysterious. I pulled out Blinky and waited. The only thing that came to my mind was to penetrate the midworld. I sat on the cold ground and waited for a miracle. I didn't get one. In one hand, I held the mascot with the object of extraterrestrial origin. In the other, Dr. Drucky's report. But without a medium, they were useless. Perhaps after calculating all the trajectories, this option was the best for the world.
Thomas!
Mary, I finally found you!
We are safe here.
No, that Nazi's following me. We have to...
We don't have to do anything. I am not a defenseless little girl anymore.
He's coming here, Mary. Can you feel it?
In this world, he has no power. He cannot hurt us. He will go back where he came from.
Rose, let me in. I will save your mother. I will save Sarah. No! Wait! Don't do it! Don't do it!
He will never threaten us again.
Mary, I think someone else wants to come here.
It's the detective. He visited me once before.
Will you let him in?
For his own good? No.
Counting. New options. Volume.
English subtitles.
Restore.
English sub.
Polskie.
Kontynuuj.
Sheena 81. Midzyswiat.
Thomas!
Mary, wreszcie cię odnalazłem!
Tutaj jesteśmy bezpieczni.
Nie! Idzie za mną ten nazista! Musimy...
Nic nie musimy. Nie jestem już bezbronną dziewczynką.
On tu idzie, Mary. Czujesz to?
W tym świecie on nie ma mocy. Nie może nam nic zrobić. Wróci skąd przyszedł.
Różo, wpuść mnie. Uratuję twoją mamę. Uratuję Sarę. Nie! Zaczekaj! Nie rób tego!
Już nam nigdy nie zagrozi.
Mary, chyba ktoś jeszcze chce tu przyjść.
To detektyw. Już raz mnie odwiedził.
Wpuścisz go?
Dla jego własnego dobra. Nie.
Kontynuuj. Nowa gra. Opcje.
Polskie
Przywróć.
napisy. Polskie napisy.
English subtitles.
Counting. New game. Option. Quit.